The wind that morning was cruel. It blew through the cracks of the broken apartment windows, carrying with it the biting cold that reminded Emily Carson of how long it had been since they'd had a real meal. She wrapped her thin sweater tighter around her body and pulled her daughter Lily closer, trying to block the wind that crept in like a thief. The small kitchen was empty except for a chipped plate, an old mug, and a box of cereal that had nothing left but crumbs. Emily looked at her sleeping child, 7 years old, cheeks hollow, hands cold even beneath the blanket, and whispered, "We'll eat tomorrow, baby. I promise." But deep down, she didn't know if tomorrow would come with food or just another empty promise. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and miracles that come when hope is almost gone, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Because stories like this one remind us that compassion still exists in this world. Emily hadn't always lived like this. Just 3 years ago, she had a husband, a home, and a life that felt safe. But when her husband, Daniel, was killed in a construction accident, her entire world shattered. The company refused responsibility, the insurance was delayed, and soon Emily was drowning in unpaid bills. She tried working double shifts as a waitress, but when Lily fell sick and needed hospital care, Emily had to choose between staying by her daughter's side or keeping her job. She chose her daughter and lost everything else. Now, every morning, she woke up with one mission: to find enough for Lily to eat. Some days it was bread from the church pantry, other days just tap water and a forced smile. Emily had learned to pretend that hunger didn't hurt as much when you smiled. But Lily was too young to understand pretense. Every time her little girl asked, "Mommy, when will we eat again?" Emily's heart broke into 1,000 pieces. That morning, Emily decided to go into town. She had seen a small cafe, Harper's Diner, that looked warm and kind, at least from the outside. The smell of pancakes and coffee used to fill the street, and though she had never dared to step inside, today she was desperate. She told Lily they would just look around, but in truth, she prayed someone there might have mercy on them. When they entered, the warmth of the diner felt almost holy. The clinking of cups, the chatter of families, the sound of sizzling eggs. It was like stepping into another world. A man behind the counter looked up. He was tall, around 35, with a quiet strength in his eyes. His name tag read, Mark. Emily froze near the door, embarrassed. Her shoes were torn, her jacket was faded, and Lily clung to her side. She didn't belong here. Still, Mark noticed the look in her eyes, that hollow blend of hunger and pride. He approached gently, pretending it was just another morning. "Table for two?" he asked softly. Emily hesitated. Her voice trembled. We're just resting for a bit. We won't order, I promise." But Mark didn't let her finish. "Sit down," he said, with a tone that left no room for refusal but carried no judgment either. He led them to a small table by the window and poured 2 glasses of orange juice. Steam rose from nearby plates as he disappeared behind the counter. Emily tried to stand and leave before she became a burden, but the smell of fresh pancakes reached her before she could. A few minutes later, Mark returned, carrying 2 plates full of food. Fluffy pancakes topped with butter, scrambled eggs, and fruit. The plates clattered softly as he set them down. Emily's lips parted in disbelief. "I told you, we can't pay," she whispered. Mark just looked at her, his expression firm yet kind. "You said you'd eat tomorrow," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "Eat today." For a moment, time stopped. Emily's eyes filled with tears, but she couldn't speak. Lily looked up, confused but smiling as she grabbed her fork. Emily tried to hold back, ashamed and grateful all at once. She watched her daughter eat with joy she hadn't seen in weeks. And in that instant, she realized that kindness didn't need permission. Mark didn't ask questions. He simply sat across from them, as if sharing breakfast with strangers was the most natural thing in the world. The warmth of the food filled their bodies, but it was his gesture that filled their hearts. For Emily, who had forgotten what dignity felt like, it was more than a meal. It was a reminder that someone still saw her. After they finished, she tried to thank him. "You don't know what this means to us," she said quietly, wiping her eyes. "I do," he replied, looking down at his coffee. "A long time ago, I was the one waiting for someone to feed me too." Mark told her that years ago, after his wife's passing, he had lost everything, even the will to live. He had slept in his car for months until a stranger helped him find work and a reason to keep going. "I made a promise that day," he said. "Whenever I see someone hurting the way I was, I'll remind them that today still matters." Emily didn't know what to say. It was the first time in years someone had spoken to her with empathy instead of pity. Days passed, and Emily began visiting the diner again. This time not for food, but for work. Mark offered her a part-time cleaning job, insisting she take it as helping him out. Slowly, she began to rebuild. Lily would sit by the counter, drawing pictures for the customers while Emily cleaned tables. The smell of coffee and maple syrup became the smell of healing. But not everyone was kind. One afternoon, a wealthy customer noticed Emily cleaning and muttered loudly, "People like that shouldn't be around diners like this." The words hit Emily like a knife. She froze, gripping the rag in her trembling hands. Mark overheard and stepped forward calmly. "People like her are the reason this place has a heart," he said firmly. The room fell silent. Emily turned away, tears streaming down her cheeks. Not from pain this time, but from gratitude. In time, Emily started to save a little. Mark helped her set up a small bank account and guided her through budgeting. He even gave Lily a small school bag and helped enroll her in the local elementary school. For the first time since Daniel's death, life began to bloom again. Emily worked hard, learning the ropes, eventually serving customers with the same kindness she once received. One cold winter morning, a woman came into the diner, thin, weary, and clutching a small boy. Emily recognized the look immediately, hunger mixed with pride. She approached with a gentle smile and said, "Take a seat." "I'll be right back." She poured 2 glasses of orange juice and filled plates just like Mark had done for her months ago. When the woman tried to refuse, Emily smiled softly and whispered, "Eat today." The woman burst into tears, and Mark, watching from the counter, couldn't help but smile. The cycle of kindness had begun again. The weeks turned into months, and soon the diner became a symbol of hope for many. Mark and Emily became more than co-workers. They became partners in compassion. He admired her strength. She admired his heart. Together, they turned Harper's Diner into more than a restaurant. It became a refuge for anyone who needed a meal, a smile, or a reminder that tomorrow always begins with kindness today. One evening, as the diner lights dimmed and the last customer left, Emily sat across from Mark with a quiet smile. Lily was asleep in the corner, her little hand clutching a crayon drawing of a family. A man, a woman, and a child, standing under the sign Harper's Diner. Emily looked at Mark and said softly, "You changed our lives." He shook his head. "You just needed someone to remind you that you still had one." Outside, the snow began to fall gently against the window, coating the streets in white. For Emily, it no longer looked cold. It looked peaceful. She realized that the world hadn't given up on her. It had just been waiting for her to walk back toward it. If this story touched your heart, if you believe that even one small act of kindness can change someone's life forever, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Because every story of compassion keeps hope alive for someone out there who needs it. Special request: comment below what kindness means to you. Have you ever experienced or given a simple act that changed everything? We'd love to hear your story. As the snow kept falling outside, Emily blew out the last candle on the counter and whispered a prayer of gratitude. She looked toward Mark and smiled, remembering that morning when he had said, "Eat today." Those 2 words had not only filled her stomach, they had fed her soul. And sometimes, that's all it takes to bring a broken heart back to life.